looks like it came in really strong is the new account gains, 9.1 million active account gains this quarter, up from
I know, but like, I'm sorry, I don't have the money to pay right now. Like, I don't know what. I understand, but like, I know PayPal is holding my funds for another 3 months. Another 3 months. Another 3 months.
They were for real giving me the runaround, and it was infuriating, and it was really discouraging and disheartening and quite frightening to think like they could do this for as long as they want. Like we're just playing a game and they're in control.
I know I'm already 3 months past due, but like, I need to. It's either I pay you or I buy groceries.
They have decided to close my PayPal account and asked me to remove all references to PayPal on my website, petersweden.com, etc. I mean, why? What's going on here? I'm just reporting the truth about what's happening in Sweden. What is it with this nature of my activities that they are so upset about?
I don't know, man. I know. Let me try and call PayPal again and see what it is that we can do. Because honestly, I don't know. What is up, you guys? So I've been running into a few issues, and it's kind of funny. So I've been running my business now for about 6 years, and I've been using a company known as PayPal for a very, very long time. And normally I haven't run into too many issues with them. However, this time is pretty much the last straw, and I'm going to explain why. So according to PayPal and the way they like to operate, it's a little unfortunate, but the way they work is they kind of, according to their own terms and their own agreements that we sign up for as users, we kind of put all of the control on PayPal themselves. Let me explain a little further about this. So what a lot of people are not aware of when it comes to using PayPal is the fact that they can literally hold your money for just about any reason they see fit. So much as if you were to sneeze the wrong way on the phone with a PayPal rep, you may run the risk of having your account suspended for potentially 6 months or longer. Let me put something into perspective for you. So imagine that I approached you and offered to process payments for you. Allow me to process payments for you to purchase items, for example. It could be any of those scenarios. Let's just imagine that my agreement with you was that I would process your payments, I would hold your money for you, and then transfer it back and forth between your bank account. However, at any given moment, if I decide to do so, I can hold your money for the next 6 months and not even exactly tell you why. How comfortable would most of you guys be allowing something like that to happen? Probably not many of you, not if I straight up explained it to you just the way I explained it now, that at any given point, I can take your money and hold it from you, not give you any interest, I can use it as I see fit, and then after 6 months or more, whenever I decide to do so, I will give you that money back. You probably wouldn't appreciate that very much, would you? But let me explain to you that a huge company that millions of people around the world use on a day-to-day basis, whether it is to sell their products or to purchase products, whatever it is that they use it for, does this on a daily basis. And they will admit it, that they have frozen thousands of people's accounts, maybe not even for any particular reason, just because they had a suspicion. On a daily basis, there are millions and millions of users of PayPal worldwide, whether you use it to purchase products on eBay. A lot of websites have it built in. My website had it built in at some point. I used to process all my payments through PayPal, and now I've just run into far too many issues to even trust them anymore. I will never ever use them again in the future, and I'm going to explain further on this as to why. What is the reason that I would no longer ever use PayPal at all for my business, no matter whether it was, no matter even if they let me use their product for free, I would not use PayPal. So to give you a little bit of context on the situation, it's been quite aggravating to say the least. So essentially what it is that we do is we've sold a lot of products. We do sporting goods equipment like hockey and stuff like that. Pretty simple. Ran into a few issues, but we were in the process of resolving those issues. We were in the middle of moving into our new location, which is where we are now. And yeah, a lot of payments were done through PayPal. I'm gonna actually put this camera back down. The issue is that I have with them is that all of a sudden everything was fine. I've been using them for years, and when things were good, they don't even say boo. They don't bother you or say anything to you. The second you have maybe like a claim or two claims against you, whatever it is, for something that maybe arrived late or whatever it is, the PayPal gives the option to customers to go directly to them to report an issue, which is fine, I guess. The problem with PayPal is their resolution process is far too much in favor of the buyer versus the seller. So they don't even really give the seller an opportunity to explain themselves properly. But that isn't even the bulk of my issues. My issue is that they've frozen our account with about $7,000 in it for 180 days and won't even really tell us why, right? So according to them, according to their standards and procedures and whatever, and according to their legal agreement online, when you click and agree to use PayPal's products and services, it actually tells you that at any given point, like I was saying before, that they can freeze your account, don't even have to tell you why, and hold your money for 180 days or more and not give you any interest. And good luck getting any of that money for 180 days. Just imagine that you rely quite heavily on selling online and you have a lot of payments that are processed and you've been waiting for funds to release from eBay sales and whatever it is online, and a lot of your funds are in PayPal. PayPal all of a sudden sends you an email, PayPal has decided to part ways and we've limited your account for 180 days. After that point, we will send you an email when you can withdraw your money. The problem with that is that businesses rely heavily on their own cash flow. They rely heavily on a monthly basis selling products over and over again to continuously make a profit. However, when you sell that product the first time, you need that money essentially to come back into your account so you can resupply your store. It only makes sense. Now imagine if you don't have money coming in, you can't resupply your store, which means you can't continue to make money, which means you can no longer pay your bills.
Just want to reiterate that was my money. I worked for that money and I earned it, and a lot of you guys gave that to me and they had their hands on it. And I think the worst part for me was that in this time, while I'm facing overdraft charges from my bank, they had taken their cut. PayPal had taken their cut. They took that before that money even touched my account. So in that 20 to 30 days where I didn't get anything, they had received £317.54 in fees from my transactions. They had also obviously probably earned quite a bit of interest on the amount of money that was sitting in that account.
The scariest thing to me about PayPal and the way that it is that they decide to do things is that literally giving them the option to basically do whatever it is that they want with your money at any given point is a massively scary factor for a lot of people. So it's like, obviously you need your money, you rely on your money to pay bills and get by and survive, and it's like, if you have all your money, for example, just by chance it happens that all your money at some point ends up in PayPal and you're waiting for it obviously to come back to you so that way you can continue to use it. Imagine that you have a family, you have a home, you have your children that you have to feed, and out of the blue all your money gets frozen completely and there's absolutely nothing you can do, and you run now into the issue of your family's survival is now at stake. You literally would have to beg and fight PayPal and make them understand that, oh, I have a child to take care of, and they don't care. A lot of the times, no matter who you speak to on the phone, it's absolutely disgusting how smug these people are, how little they care, how unempathetic they are to your situation, but the answer is always no. How can you tell me no, that I can't have access to my own hard-earned money? Let's kind of run through why PayPal can and probably will hold your money for about 180 days. The reason that they look at it is the simple fact that if you were to sell a lot of goods online, you kind of have to prove to PayPal, obviously, that these goods are delivered, that they're arriving to their customers, that there's no complaints, fine, whatever it is. But the second you have a limitation, they no longer really care to look any deeper whether the funds in your account have been delivered and successfully used by your customers without complaint. The way that they see it is that they protect themselves from any form of chargeback or basically loss to PayPal themselves, right? Which from a business standpoint is understandable. But when you have a relatively decent track record, I think PayPal needs to look a little bit further and understand that the risk of releasing the funds to you before those 180 days really is not as much of a risk as they seem to think it is. So I've kind of thought about this a little bit further and started to realize that I think what PayPal is doing is just holding thousands of people's funds using any excuse pretty much available to them they use against you just to hold your funds so that way they can make more interest on it, because it actually says it in their legal agreement. If you look online, it says that they can make interest, but they no pay interest to you. They don't pay any interest over to you for those 6 months that they're holding your funds. And realistically, just knowing that they can literally freeze your account and have done it to thousands of people. So here's where it kind of gets a little tricky. I've spoken to a lot of reps on the phone. Some of them have tried to be helpful, but I'm gonna say about 98% of them are pretty well useless and really don't care. I don't know if PayPal just simply trains their employees to be complete assholes over the phone, but like I said, most of the time the experiences that I've had with PayPal employees over the phone have been utterly ridiculous. And it's just like, it's kind of like PayPal just kind of trains their employees to be as quick as possible on the phone. They don't really want to listen to you. They won't let you give them any sort of explanation after the fact. Once your account's permanently limited and they're holding your funds for 180 days, there's pretty much nothing you can do other than taking it up as a legal matter and getting a lawyer, getting the courts involved, which you can do. You do have full control. It is your money after all. Clearly think that PayPal is in the wrong here and they're holding your funds for absolutely no reason. And because like I said, they literally don't have to give you a reason according to themselves. So they can literally pretty much do whatever it is that they want, which is scary on its own. But if you feel that what they're doing to you is not right, if you're in the same situation as myself, where they pretty much won't explain how to fix the problem and what it is the problem actually is, then by all means, please get yourself a lawyer and take it to the courts, right? Because a huge company like PayPal, when it comes to legal matters like that, they'd probably rather not have it on their record. The only way that you can actually solve the issue. Now let's get to the 180-day issue here. So PayPal again claims that they can hold your funds for 180 days. Here's the problem with that, and this is why I see a mathematical issue with PayPal's 180-day hold. So they claim that the 180-day hold is in case there were any possible chargebacks in the future on your funds. Understood. The problem that I see with that, and this is a huge problem and a lot of people are not catching this, the fact that the dates don't match up. So if you're holding my funds for 180 days since the account suspension in order to cover chargebacks, however, customers only have 180 days from their purchase date, their payment date. So if they only have 180 days from the purchase date, why is the suspension possibly from a later period, right? So it's like, really, you're holding funds that maybe were processed, I don't know, 3 months before, right? Let's use this as an example. So let's say they had maybe, let's say you processed a lot of sales, whatever it was, you had about $1,000 in your PayPal account, and you just kind of forgot about it and said, whatever, when I need it, I'll transfer it out from my bank account. Let's say 1 month, 2 months, 3 months go by, and all of a sudden you decide you're gonna go and withdraw the funds. You check your PayPal account and it says you are limited. Sometimes they'll ask you for it to submit information, but even when you submit the information, there's a lot of weird things that can happen. I've seen a lot of other YouTubers run into some very, very scary situations where they've literally been running around in circles submitting paperwork to PayPal and nobody's getting back to them, nobody's helping them. So anyways, back to our example. Let's say your funds were there from like 3 months ago. They cleared whatever it was so the purchase dates would be from 3 months ago, hypothetically. 3 months later, they decide they're going to limit your account all of a sudden, right? And they say from the time that they suspend your account, the money's going to be held in there in case of chargeback for the following 180 days. Which there is a problem with that, because now you're actually holding our funds for what, 250 days? Because the funds were already there from 3 months ago. They've already cleared from 3 months ago. So shouldn't the 180-day hold realistically be from the transaction date, and should it not be for each individual transaction? So it seems kind of fishy to me as to why PayPal seems to think that all the funds in your account should be held for 180 days from the suspension date. This actually doesn't make any sense and is a pretty damn good reason as to why I think that PayPal just does this in order to hold on to your money for longer. The way PayPal kind of operates, especially as such a massive corporation, is that they do hemorrhage a lot of the funds that they have available to them, I'm assuming, in investments. Because investing even at 6 to 10% still makes PayPal, who has billions of dollars of people's money in their accounts, is a huge amount of interest back to them. This is the way the banks operate, right? So when you deposit your money into a bank, maybe you only have a couple $100 in your account. But let's remember that the banks have thousands of customers. So when you put 200 times 100,000 customers, you're talking, what? I don't know, $20 million or something like that? On $20 million, the banks are making a killing in interest, even if they're only making a few points on a monthly basis. Because they have such huge amounts of money, they can go into investments that yield them high results, right? This is the same thing that PayPal is doing with your money, and the reason why they're using the 180-day hold as an excuse to make more money for themselves. And at the same point, what they're not realizing is that you're tarnishing your customer base, because now that you've pissed me off, I'm gonna go out there and potentially piss off thousands of your customers at the end of the day. And the big thing here is that they're also ruining lives. There's so many lives that have been ruined by PayPal, reputations destroyed, businesses destroyed. People have been in distraught financial situations because PayPal just doesn't care to listen or want to do anything for their customers. Now here's the thing with PayPal's customer service. When you speak to these guys on the phone, a lot of the times they don't give two shits about you. You can fight them, you can yell at them, you can try and ask them for a proper reason as to why your account is even suspended in the first place, and they don't have to give you an answer because according to them, according to their own legal agreement, they don't have to give you any sort of information as long as they see fit. You want information, you're gonna have to get it from the courts. That's the only way that's the way they do things. When you're holding thousands of people's money, thousands, if not millions, maybe even $1 billion worth of funds from your customers, and I think it's important to kind of figure out where the problem is. Go a little deeper, listen to your customers, look into each transaction further, see what it is that they're doing, see if they've run into some issues, and see if they could use a little bit of assistance when it comes to selling. There's a lot of new sellers out there that they've never done this before. They don't have experience, right? They're learning things that they've never done before. So why are you just literally skipping over everything that they need you to do for them? Remember, we're the ones paying you. You're not paying us. We're paying you. Now, I kind of like tried to go through with them what the likelihood of a chargeback would be since they've decided to hold our funds for 180 days. And we've kind of come down to the risk factor being very, very small, very marginal. And even to that, they still don't want to listen. Even when you ask on the phone to be forwarded over to a manager, the last conversation I remember having with somebody named Jake, who was a supervisor, even told, as soon as I started saying, hey, listen, like, let's go through the information, like, let's do a little bit of investigating into the transactions and what the likelihood of an actual chargeback would be, since you guys want to hold my funds for 6 months. And again, they really just don't want to waste their time with you and will flat out tell you that they'll try and do it in a polite, kind of smug way, that you're kind of wasting your own time and wasting their time, because then again, they are God. They want to act like God and play God and control everything that you own. They want to control your assets. And it's kind of funny that they don't want to listen, right? They're trained to get the hell off the phone. If you have already been suspended and you've tried to appeal your account, they don't want to listen to you. They want nothing to do with you. They just want to hold your funds because you're the little guy, and a lot of the times they think that you won't do anything about it. Well, things really need to change. And to be honest, if a lot of people stop using PayPal for the reasons that were outlined in this video, I'm not sure if I'm going to make one video or a series of videos on how it is that PayPal operates and does things. But if a lot of people stop using their services, either they're going to go down, people are going to start using alternate methods of processing their payments, or they're going to have to change the way they do things. They're going to have to be willing to take on more risk, right? So it's like all the risk should not be on us little sellers. We don't have money to take chances at potentially having our funds held for the next 6 months, right? We can't afford those. We can't afford to take those kinds of risks. And that's the reason really why a lot of people shouldn't even be using PayPal in the first place, really. There's so many other payment processors out there now, like Square, where they don't hold your funds. They actually, when the payments come through, the payments go into what it's like a batch. So if you ever use like an actual debit terminal in your store, like this, for example. And this is another stupid reason as to why not to use PayPal services anymore. Because they hold your funds for such a long period of time that you have to prove to them that the product's been shipped. It's like, really? I have to wait 3 weeks to get paid on something that I no longer have in my store anyways because I've already shipped it to the customer? Like, I know it comes down to a little bit of a trust thing, but come on. Realistically, it's like you guys are losing business because people want to find other alternative methods of processing their payments. And I'll give you an example. So this right here is a debit terminal. When somebody pays on this debit terminal, the money gets held and is sent to my bank account at the end of the day once I click day close right there, all right? So to me, it's kind of like, I don't understand why PayPal doesn't have a system like that where they release funds automatically, right? And it's like, You guys are killing the economy. You're holding funds for such a long period of time that the person who sold their items and sent their items don't have that money right now to be able to repurchase new stock, right? And it just kind of, it's like a vicious circle. It just keeps slowing things down, right? So it's like, why am I going to continue to use your services when I could use something like what I just showed you there, or Square, who basically operates in the same manner? When I get a Square payment processed that day, at the end of the day, it gets batched into my bank account. So all the sales that I've done all day long end up getting sent all at the same time, with no questions asked, into my bank account at the end of the night. So the following day, I can go again to the wholesaler and reorder the merchandise that I've just sold. So for me, it doesn't make any sense anymore as to why I'm going to use PayPal's old school, stupid system where all they're going to do is hold my funds for an extenuated period of time. It doesn't make any sense. The craziest thing that I find about PayPal and how they operate, and just the fact that they don't care, they don't respond to their customers' emails when they have issues with their accounts being suspended. It's disgusting. It's scary, to say the least, that somebody could lose their livelihood. There's so many stories online of people literally thinking the only solution to their PayPal problem is now committing suicide, ending their own life because they can't deal with it anymore. They've literally lost everything, right? Like my situation now is that, it's a little bit difficult. I've worked at this business for 6 years and I had a lot of funds in PayPal, and this hold kind of hurts, right? Like I gotta pay rent in 2 days, but PayPal is gonna be holding my funds for another 90 days. So it's like, what do I do? How do I fix this situation, right? How do I avoid these problems in the future? And there is really only one solution, is to stop using them altogether. Like, you can't. And the other shitty part is that I can't understand why PayPal haven't found any other better solutions than why eBay haven't found any better solutions, why their main payment processor is still PayPal. So many sellers hate PayPal. They don't want to use it anymore, right? Mainly because of the holds on every single sale that goes through. If sellers were able to have funds quicker through eBay, I'd imagine a lot more sellers would probably be using eBay. They just can't afford to have their funds held for such a long period of time, so it doesn't make sense for them to use eBay, right? Which is in direct correlation to PayPal itself. You know, they've caused a lot of anxiety and pressure and stress in my life, and I think a lot of it was just totally unnecessary. So at this point, I'm trying to find a solution, something that will work for myself and potentially a lot of other people out there. So I hope you got something out of this video, whether it was enough to scare you enough to maybe not use PayPal. Of course, that is your decision at the end of the day. If you like them, by all means, take chances and keep using them. But if any of this experience is enough to convince you not to use PayPal anymore, then definitely search for alternative means out there. There's a lot of different options nowadays. They're not the only company out there on the market processing payments. There's a lot of other companies now that are doing things that are even better, more efficient, easier to use than PayPal, right? So I hope you guys liked this video. Don't forget to smash the like button, and we're gonna keep going, and we're gonna find a solution to this problem. We're gonna figure this out. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you know when the next part of this video goes up. There probably will be more. There's a lot of information about PayPal that I just can't even really think of right now, but I know there's more, and I'm working on a lot of other things. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, so that way you know when part 2 comes up. And that's pretty much it. Wish me luck.